Hello, welcome to yet another live from THiNC Institute of Design. So in this session, our beloved faculty Chaitanya Sir is there with us. So he will be taking the topic of non-verbal reasoning, which is related to previous year Uceed entrance exam. So you can free to ask any of the doubt which is related to this topic in Zoom. So to get the link of the Zoom, you can WhatsApp us at 8086111933 number. So from there you will get the Zoom link and you can just join our Zoom and you are free to ask all your doubts which related to non-verbal reasoning. So tomorrow also we'll be having one session which is related to current affairs. You are free to ask all your doubts there also. To get more ideas about it, you can just WhatsApp at 8086111933 number. So we'll be happy to help you out. So not much delay, let's start today's session. So, Chaitanya sir, am I audible for you?
Yes, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible. Sir. The platform is all yours.
Okay. So I'll just share my screen now. Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Chaitanya, as Ranjit already told me. Thank you so much, Ranjit, for the introduction. I'm not very well today, so I'm not sharing my web camera with you guys, but I hope you guys can see my screen. So I specialize in non-verbal reasoning and I help students understand non-verbal reasoning questions. And what THiNC Institute has done is that they have segregated non-verbal reasoning questions into different categories, which is very helpful because then we can segregate those topics such as geometry and we can compartmentalize those topics, counting, then there is figure transformation and there is pattern where you have to understand what sort of different patterns are made. Then there is shape formation, there is path tracing, and there will be several different topics, some of which you guys will be very good at and some of which you guys might have difficulty at, right? And there are always a possibility that the topics will be very like the questions themselves will be very tricky. For example, this question, it seems like a generic question, but then they ask you that the couple of cockroaches are walking in the direction of northeast, but then they turn away from the sunset and something like that. So they try to trick you in these questions. My role here is to give you an understanding of what sort of questions fall under non-verbal reasoning. And of course, we try to always share tips and tricks that can help you guys perform those questions faster. We practice questions that you guys can do. Like you get into the habit of doing these questions faster. Like for example, in this question, fonts, you have to understand which of them belong to the same font. So how do you understand those small peculiarities which will help you do the question correctly? And as I always say in my class, if you understand the question, like if this question is there, if you understand the question, if you understand the question, you already know half the answer, right? So hi Ananya, good evening. So that is the point here, to make you become comfortable with the questions presented by Seed, Uceed, NID, and so that you can easily solve any question that comes your way. So for example, I'll just start with some examples today. So this is Uceed, this is Seed 2021. I already solved some Uceed questions in the last live sessions. You guys can go to the THiNC YouTube channel and you can find my live session there, recorded live session. So for example, look at this question. The front view of a solid object is shown in the given image. If the views from all 6 sides are the same, how many surfaces does it have? Seems like a simple enough question, right? Surface counting, right, generally asks you to count the number of surfaces in an object. So a cube has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6 surfaces we can't see. It has 6 surfaces, right? A pyramid has 5 surfaces, right? 1, 2, 3 and one bottom 4. No, not this one. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 and one bottom 5. Similarly, a sphere only has a single surface, right? And similarly, different 3D forms have different surfaces. So generally, they ask a very straightforward question. They'll give you a shape. They'll ask you how to count the surfaces on that particular object. But in this question, they have made it a little bit more tricky because they want to see. They know that general objects everybody can count, but can the students who want to get into Uceed, NID, can they solve these sort of questions? So in this question, they're saying a solid object, if the views from all 6 sides are the same, that means that it is an object which has a top and a bottom. It has a back and a front and a left and a right. This is what the object looks like. So every part of the object contains one of these. Okay, so the object looks identical from all the sides. So if we start counting now, if we start imagining it in 3D, I'll try to draw the object in 3D. This is actually a cone. So you will understand that this is actually a cone, which will be one surface. Then you have a cylinder, right? You can see from here, it's a cone. Right below the cone, there's a cylinder, right? Then you have a cuboid, a cube below that, something like this, right? Right below it, we can't see it, like this thing. We don't know what it looks like, but it actually is. Can anybody guess in the comments what it actually is? It is actually a cylindrical sort of a shape, right? So that shape, which is something like this, right? And then it connects to the bottom. So if we start counting, and each 6 sides has one of these, the front also, the top also, bottom also, left, right, everything, right? So if we start counting, let me just start counting quickly. This cone has one surface, right? I'm just going to, this is one, right? This cylinder has one surface. This cube has 4 surfaces on all sides and also one surface on top, if you can see that, right? So one surface, then the cylinder right below it, it actually has a, collectively it has only one surface, but the top surface gets broken into 4 parts because of the cube. So we will count it as 4 different surfaces, and these are the number of surfaces, which is 2 plus 4 6, 2 plus 4 6, 12 surfaces for one object, and we have 6 of these. So the answer should be 12 into 6, which becomes 72. Okay, I hope you understand why we have 6 of these, right? And that is how you can, so that is how you will not get afraid of these questions. It'll be a little more comfortable to you when you do it. If you have any doubts, if you have any questions, please feel free to join the Zoom link that is provided in the YouTube chat, and you can ask your questions there. Okay, all right. So now let me show you another example. Now this falls under geometry, right? Area of the hexagon divided by area of the gray triangle. Now you'll start thinking that this seems like there has to be some sort of maths which goes into it, right? There has to be some sort of calculation that goes into it. Does it have to do with arcs of the circle, or does it have to do with Pythagoras theorem, or does it have to do with something else? But if you are comfortable with these sort of questions, if you practice these sort of questions, you can learn certain tips and tricks that you can divide this hexagon into 6 triangles, right? Let me just divide it into 6 triangles. It is made of 6 white triangles, right? And look at this area of the triangle is one gray triangle and 2 halves of 2 triangles. So I can actually say there are in total 2 gray triangles, right? These 2 halves can make 2 gray triangles. The rest is all white. So that means 2 gray triangles, 4 white triangles. And that is how we would know that area of the hexagon would be 6 white triangles divided by area of the gray would be 2 gray triangles, which will be 3:1. Got it? So it's these questions of, if you understand them properly, these become easy. Okay. All right. So moving ahead, there are other different types of questions. Like this is again counting, where they ask you to take these triangles. They ask you to extend this. They ask you, so example, the figure is cloned and flipped on the axis PP. So you have to flip it like this and like this, right? And then the resulting image. So you take this whole thing, you clone it, and then you flip it and you put it on QQ, and then you have to count the number of triangles. So it gets a little confusing, but if we practice together, we will be able to solve it very easily. Now, looking at this sort of a question, this is also counting, but this also belongs to pattern, right? I just told you, right? There are many different topics, and pattern is a very important part of it. So if you see this question, the question asks, there's a necklace made of white and black cube beads in a particular sequence, arranged in a particular sequence, which is shown in the figure. Find out the number of black beads Blue mark indicates the start of the necklace and the red mark indicates the end of the necklace. So one thing that first of all confuses us this, that what is this sort of, like they have given it like something like, I don't know, like this is how they have made it, right? It's pretty confusing that why would they choose this sort of a pattern. Exactly, Sundaram. No idea. But let me tell you something interesting. We have to start from here, right? So let's just count. One black bead, one white bead. Two black beads, so two black beads, then three white beads, right? Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Five black beads, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 white beads. I'm guessing 13 black beads and then 21 white beads. Then it will be 34 black beads and then it will continue on. Now, if you have no idea what the hell is happening right now, like you will be confused, right? But if you were to practice with us, you would know that this is actually the Fibonacci sequence. It is making just a second. It is making me do the captcha. I am probably not a good human. Yeah, okay. This is the Fibonacci series, right? The Fibonacci series is it is 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 89, which is basically which is also related to the golden ratio. This is the golden ratio. 1 and 1 are two blocks. They add up to become 2. Then 2 that 1 and 2 add up to become 3. 2 and 3 add up to become 5. 5 and 8 add up to become 13. 13 and 21 add up to become 35. And like that, 34, and that keeps on going. It's an endless series. So Fibonacci series is very famous in design, and it is a very important series. Like it is also called the golden ratio, which is used in paintings a lot of times. So it is not just a regular, like it is not just a time pass series. It has a lot of significance behind the question. So then you will know that, okay, this question is actually utilizing the Fibonacci series. And and once you know Fibonacci series, you'll very quickly start catching these questions, right? And then you will know what the answer to this question is. Then let us look at this question. Any idea how this question is supposed to be done? This is a geometry question. Seems like a confusing question. Figure shows an urban road map of a city. The boundary of the city is a perfect rectangle, as indicated by the black dotted line. The gray lines indicate the major roads that run parallel to the edges of the city. The red line shows the route taken by a bus from point P to point Q. If the perimeter of the boundary is 68 kilometers, what is the distance traveled by the bus in kilometers? Again, it seems like you need to do some maths for it, right? But if you were like, see, our goal in this examination is to do these questions correctly and also as fast as possible, right? So that we are able to save time for part B, in which we'll have to do sketching or at least to revise the question. So one way to do this very fast is just add up the horizontal tracks, and you will see that they add up to being this, right? Then add the vertical tracks and they add up to being this, and you will understand it is nothing if it is just one length and one breadth. So if the perimeter of the boundary is 68, so this is half the boundary, right? So it should be 68 by 2, which becomes 34. The answer is as simple as that. But if you end up scratching your head that how is this supposed to be done, what could we do in this case, then you end up losing a lot of valuable time, right? So making up for that valuable time is our intention in this class, in these classes. By the way, we will be having a couple of sessions tomorrow also, so you guys can feel free to join in there, right? Now this is another topic, which is fonts, right? And you have to understand, like the question asks, find the digit that is not written in the same font as others. Now, such a simple thing as font, have you ever paid attention to something like that? Like fonts, why do we need to pay attention to fonts? But if I were to solve it, yes. So Rahul is absolutely correct. Rahul, can you tell me the reason also why you think 5 is the correct answer? So in questions like this, yes, Imanshu, you're also correct. But why don't you guys tell me the reason also? So when you understand the reason, you're able to apply those reasons to different questions as well, right? So this is one of the easier questions from fonts. There are several Very difficult questions also. Sir, because of the roundness. Yes. Rahul is absolutely correct. Because I can see in the other letters, they're ending like this. Right? They're ending like this. They're ending with sharp ends, like the sharp ends of the edge. They're ending like this. Only 5 is ending in a rounded manner. And also, only 5 has this top thing coming out of it. None of the numbers have that. Right? One has it, but not in a very similar manner. So that is how we will know that 5 would be the odd one out, basically, in these sort of questions. And similarly, we will keep doing different questions which are okay. Let me do this one also. Gear Q is fixed on the pulley R. If pulley P undergoes 4.5 full rotations, how many rotations will gear S undergo? So this falls under mechanical systems. There is another topic called mechanical systems, where they will present you some sort of a physical system like this, physical apparatus that you need to predict the movement of. So the question is basically asking, gear Q is fixed on the pulley R. All right. If pulley P goes under 4.5 full rotations, how many rotations will S undergo? So they're asking, if this thing goes under 4.5, how many will this thing undergo? Both are same size, it should be same, right? Shouldn't it? Okay, I remember last time when I took the live class, I gave this example that if I have a wheel whose circumference is 50, and if I have a wheel whose circumference is 25, right? The bigger wheel will need only one rotation to travel a road which is 50 centimeters long. Correct? Only in one rotation it will be able to travel. But the smaller wheel, which is half the circumference, will need to go over twice. Right? So one rotation 25, another rotation 25. So that means the effort exerted by the smaller wheel, is proportionally more when its size is proportionally smaller to the bigger wheel. The same concept applies here. In simple terms, I'll explain it to you. So for example, if P is going under 4.5 rotations, right? 4.5 rotations. This red thing, which is half the size of P, will have to do double the work, right? Because it is half the size. That is why it will undergo 9 rotations. Can anybody tell me how many number of rotations will the green one undergo? Can anybody quickly tell me? How many rotations would the green circle undergo? So the orange one was 4.5. The red one, which is half, no, not 180. I'm asking the number of rotations, not the degrees. So P was orange, which went through it turned 4.5 rotations. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4.5. Right? To do the same amount of work, the red one had to do 9 rotations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Because it is smaller. The one that is even smaller than that, to do the same amount, like this is 40, this is 20, half of 40, and this is 10, which is half of 20. So this will have to do double the amount of this, which is 18 rotations, right? Did you mean to say 18, Rahul, and you ended up saying 180, or was that a fluke? Okay, so this ends up doing 18 rotations. Now R, which is actually 40 in diameter, which is same as P, is 4 times the green one. So it will do only 1/4 the work, which becomes again 4.5. Right? So it again becomes 4.5. Now you would say, sir, Q is only half of it. Q should do 9. Right? Q is only half the size of R, right? Q should do 9 rotations. That is where the question gets tricky, because Q is not touching R. It is actually R, because it is on R. So the number of rotations that R does, which is 4.5, Q will also do exactly the same number of rotations. So Q will also end up doing 4.5, because it is just stuck on top of it, right? And then S, which is double the size of Q, will do even half of that, because it is bigger, right? So it will do even less work. So it will do half of 4.5, which is 2.25, which will be the correct answer. Now, if we had practiced this question together in the class, what we would have done? This is 40, 4.5. we don't need to look at this because we end up coming back to 40. This is also 4.5. So we will skip this step in between. And we don't have to calculate for Q. If this is 4.5, that means Q is also 4.5. And then we just need to calculate for S. And you end up saving so much time. Right? So this question, which looks so difficult, which seems very intimidating, becomes very, very extremely easy, basically. Okay. Okay. So now there are other questions where you have to find simple rotations. Rotation is also very important. So like what I just told you right now, that we could have done this. So this is the sort of tips and tricks that you can get in this sort of in these sort of sessions. And of course, if you join THiNC Institute, we will be providing you tips and tricks for all of these topics: perspective, series, mechanical systems, animation. We'll do the 12 rules of animations. And we also keep dropping these tips and tricks on the YouTube channel. So you can definitely subscribe. You can definitely like these videos. And if you subscribe, they'll just keep popping up in your feed, right? So that will be helpful for you. Okay, so moving on. We'll have other questions. Then there'll be some questions which are regarding culture and which is regarding art. There will be some questions which is regarding reading graphs. There will be some questions where you have to predict the shadows of these, like which of these will give the correct shadow. There will be some, again, mechanical systems. So for example, let me take this question. Which option is the scaled version of P? It just looks like bad photocopies, doesn't it? So if we look at P, and if I had to figure out which is the exact copy of P, it is basically find the difference, which we have done. Like as children, we have done it many times, right? I can see that something is missing here. So A becomes wrong, right? Can you guys tell me which one is the correct one, which one is the wrong one? I think in B also this is missing, right? This thing is missing. B becomes wrong. Out of C and D, what do you guys think? Which is the correct answer? Out of C and D. Why? Why? What is wrong with D? Why are you guys saying that C is the correct answer? Right. So you can get the correct answer, but you should be able to reason behind that also. Right. So what is the particular reason why C is the correct answer and not D? Oh, A is already the wrong answer. I've already told. Right. So, okay, I leave it up to you to find out what exactly is wrong with D, which is not there with C. And like that, you can. So, another way of doing these questions, which we always follow in these classes, is left side is wrong. Could be. Right. So, one thing that we follow in these question papers is that if we don't know the correct answer, we try to eliminate the wrong answer. That is what we do. Rule of elimination is very, very helpful. Right. And that has helped me personally so many times. So, you can do that also. Now this question is also very interesting, right? So this falls under, but I will need to open Photoshop for this to show you the beauty of this question. So in this question, they ask which set of pieces. Let me just open this quickly. Right. So they're asking which set of pieces can form a full circle if the rotation of the pieces is not permitted. So basically, you need to add these pieces and they should form a circle, right? In this case, one thing which is very easy to do is what I tell everyone, I tell the students is you can just match these. Are they matching? Okay, they seem to be matching. Is this matching? No, this and this is not matching. This line and this line is not matching, right? So they will probably not fit together. Just to show you just to show you practically, if I put this here and if I put the green one here, because nothing other than the green one will come there, right? So it will not match. So we already know A is not the answer. Okay, fine. Let us check out something else. Let us check out. Okay, B in B it seems to be matching this and this, right? In D also it seems to be matching. Actually, D seems to be a better match. Meanwhile, you guys can ask questions in the Zoom chat. You can also try to attempt the questions here. Okay, if I just keep this here, what do you think? Will D be the correct answer or not? It seems to be fitting almost perfectly. right? So it does end up becoming a circle, right? But B also seems to be the correct angle, right? Let me just try out B as well, because it felt like B would also fit. So if I was to check B, yeah, so there's a very small difference in the yellow one, the angle of the yellow and the angle of the green, which lets us understand that that will not be the correct answer. And because I've done everything else, let me just quickly do the red one, the C one as well. So look at that. So now see, this is what they try to be tricky with this, because in this the angles are perfect. Angles of all four are perfect, but they just made the green one slightly smaller, just slightly smaller, to confuse you. That is what they're trying to do, right? And if you're not able to do this mentally, because you will not have Photoshop to do these things, right? So you will have to practice it enough so that you can do it mentally during the examination. And with enough practice, when we practice together, you will get it definitely. So that is why I suggest you guys to join the sessions that will be upcoming, like we have tomorrow. And also you can subscribe this channel and you'll keep getting these sort of ideas and tips and tricks. Right. So, okay. Let me look at a couple of more questions. There are some very obviously logo finding questions, like which is the correct logo. Then there is a question like this: P and Q are two grids in which white squares are transparent. P is rotated, and let me take this to Photoshop as well. Right. P is rotated 90 degrees counterclockwise. Q is rotated 90 degrees clockwise. So P is rotated 90 degrees counterclockwise, right? And Q is rotated 90 degrees clockwise. What would be the resulting figure? So that means the red thing is matching, right, for them. So I'm just going to, okay, so I'm just going to make this, delete. Why don't you guys try to give me the answer meanwhile? I'm just trying to make the question easier for you. Okay, Akhil seems to think that it would be C. Sundaram thinks it would be D. Okay, interesting. So I'm going to overlap this for you guys. But before that, you can just predict that the top row will be completely full. The second row mein, the fourth one would be empty. Third row mein, first and last would be empty. And in the last row, the second one would be empty. So let me just try and overlap this. Right? And we know that A would be the easiest answer. Right? So Yadu, I really like your username, like the design that you made. But again, you will not have Photoshop to do it for you. So you have to do this mental rotation in your head, that rotate P mentally counterclockwise, then rotate Q clockwise, and then try to overlap them. Right? So how do you do it in the examination when you don't have any Photoshop? Those are the things that we will learn in these classes. Okay. And similarly, we have several different questions. There are perspective questions that they will ask you, that how will you get this if you paint this on a wall, right? Anamorphic painting. Then there is color theory. Then there is shadows, that are projections. And there are several. There are animation questions. There is animation principles. Then look at this. I told you, right? There are some font questions that are even more difficult. So this is, I was referring to questions like this. So, let me just very quickly show you something very interesting. Look at this. This is actually two words which have been overlapped. Right, I'm not going to do the entire question, but I'm just showing you they have been overlapped and stretched. So if you minimize them somewhat, you will read that, you will understand that there is actually, look at this, there is actually a B here, there is actually an R here, then an O here, then an O here, and like that. But you have to do that from seeing this. So how do you do something like that? So we will teach you that what you do. You first of all, you don't get scared. You take, why is this not working? Just a second. Just a second. Yeah, right. So what you do is you try to physically track them, and then you see that it is actually a B, right? Then you look at the next one, which is this one, and then you track it, and then you'll know that it is actually an R, and like that you will understand doing all these questions. So confusing you with perspective is another trick that they try to do. So similarly, we'll find many different questions, and it is always wonderful to help you guys understand different questions. And with time, these questions will also start seeming easy to you, right? So I hope to see you guys again in the classes that we'll be hosting from now onwards. Like tomorrow, we'll be having a session, and if you have any doubts, feel free to ask me in the class. Okay. I'll hand it over back to the host. Ranjit, you can take over from here. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for this beautiful session. So students, I think you have cleared all your doubts in this session itself. And if you have any further, you can just give a comment below this video. We'll be happy to help you out there. And also, as Chaitanya sir already said, tomorrow also we'll be having a session which is related to current affair based. And most important 30 questions will be discussed from our top faculty called Chandu sir. So you guys can join that session also. To get the Zoom link, you can just WhatsApp hello at 8086111933 number. Via WhatsApp, you're getting the Zoom link, and via Zoom, you are free to ask all your doubts with our top faculty. And also, we are just starting a new batch for NID, NIFT, and UC 2023, the online hybrid crash batch. We are just starting from 23rd December onwards. You guys can start joining. So if you have any doubts related to admission, you can just call or WhatsApp at 8086111044 number. And also most important thing is that we are just conducting one quiz competition named Curiosity. So next quiz will be on coming Saturday, which is 24th of December 2022 at 6:15 p.m. So kindly do join. The topic will be related to current affairs itself. So it will be so interesting, I swear. So kindly do join. And for further details or queries, you can just call or WhatsApp at 8086111933 number. I request host to share the number in the live comment box also. So I think let's wind up this session. So signing off, Ranjit from THiNC Institute of Design. Have a glorious night. Bye.